without further ado, we'd like to welcome Mr. Chuck Heustess and from Bladen County. He's going to give us a report on all sorts of fun stuff.
All sorts of stuff. Y'all, and like when I speak anytime, very informal. If you have a question about any project that I'm talking about, just wave at me. I'll stop and answer it as I go. Or when I get finished, if you have a question about something else, feel free to ask me. But of course, my name's Chuck Heustess. I do economic development here in Bladen County. And I also do the revolving loan and nonprofit real estate corporation, Bladen's Bloom and Agri Industrial. So I wear two hats that are very closely aligned. I'm going to start out talking about the bad news that we recently got. And a lot of you may have not heard about it, but some of us worked really hard on it. I know Dr. Lee helped me a lot on it. You may have heard in the news about a tech company that was looking for a location to open a center that would have about 100 coding employees. And this is a trend that we had started hearing about, that there is going to be tech companies looking for coding opportunities in rural areas. I didn't think it would get to us this quick, but this company that was looking, the project was called Project Key. The company was Provalis, and they had already put one place in Bruton, Alabama, and another in Jasper, Texas, and they were looking for their third location. And they do coding, which I really didn't know that much about what coding was. So if you know anything about coding, you're ahead of where I was. But I learned a lot about it during this time. But it's basically the background of almost everything that's electrical. And particularly now it's associated with computer programming. But their companies that they deal with are absolutely companies that you hear of every day in life as you go around. But it was a very interesting tour. The superintendent went with us. Charles Ray went with us. He was the chairman of the commissioners at the time. Dr. Lee went with us, and Garrett. And I'm probably leaving out. Oh yeah, Hal Clark went with us, representing the town and Clark Brothers. And unfortunately, it got down to us and Whiteville and Manning, South Carolina. And unfortunately, they selected Manning, South Carolina. The town had a Belk building that was downtown. It's not like your modern day Belk. It's probably one that I'm guessing was built in about the 60s and had been renovated. So it was a beautiful building right in the middle of the downtown. And the community gave them the building, put up the money to upfit the entire building, and after keeping the jobs 5 years, they're just deeded the building over. And from what we were told, the biggest difference between the two proposals, Elizabethtown-White, because Whiteville also offered to give a building downtown. They were going to buy and give one of the UCB buildings downtown, and even offering to give the building with renovations complete, they still lost. It turned out that they told us the main thing was South Carolina came to the table much stronger than North Carolina could. But it opened our eyes a lot to forthcoming opportunities, and it advanced some other things that the town's looking at that I'll get to a little bit later. But we're going to continue to look at this tech sector because we think that's where there's going to be some growth in the future. And we're talking to a consultant with some connections in the research triangle that says he thinks he can hook us up with some small emerging companies up there that may like to look at a rural area. So that was the bad news we had last year. We worked hard on it. There was a job fair here at Bladen Community College, and almost 250 people showed up for the job fair. So it's one of those fields that we feel like we really need to take a look at, because when it's so hard to find employees at so many of our employers, here's a sector that lots of people are wanting to work in. So we're going to do our best to vet and search and find other companies. And this company indicated that a year to 18 months from now, they will need to expand again. And depending on where their clients are coming from at the time, they could be right back up here, because they do think the Raleigh Research Triangle and Charlotte area are promising places for continued growth. Now moving on, everything else is positive. The first one I want to talk about is the Chemours facility. A lot of you know that they are building a major emissions control plant. They're spending somewhere between $120 and $150 million to build a world-class plant in controlling emissions up there in a way that has never been done anywhere else in the world. It was supposed to open and start up by the end of the year. They started it up almost a week early, and it is going very well. So that was not only a very attractive investment for us because it solidifies three of our great employers. That site right there, those emissions and the wastewater comes from Kuraray, which is the Japanese company that has the logistics center in the park. And they also bought all the Butasite up at Fayetteville Works, so all the architectural and car glass. So they're a big employer. DuPont is a much smaller employer now, but they're probably between about 30, 40 employees. And then Chemours is still the larger up there, so they're probably somewhere between 300 and 400 employees. But if you take that whole site, most of the time the employment up there is probably between 700 and 800 people. And historically, they have either been our largest or second largest taxpayer. Them and Smithfield have gone back and forth. But with the new distribution center, Smithfield has blown by them. But still, that tax base up there is the second largest chunk of tax base in Bladen County, our second largest site for employment. And it really was in jeopardy with the emission stuff that was going on up there. So all that's good, and they actually feel strongly that it's going to generate opportunities here in the next few years. That now that they can handle emissions that nobody else in the world can, that there are manufacturing opportunities that are going to come to that site because they know that they can do processes there that they can't do in other places. As a transition from that, move on to our largest taxpayer, which is Smithfield. I know I don't have to tell this group that it's incalculable how much Smithfield and its impact from the farm to the manufacturing and logistics, how it runs through our community. But I think the great news there is that Smithfield continues to invest in Bladen County. We all know that a year ago they opened the distribution center, which was about a $125 million project and around 330 jobs. They've recently also done it's a renewable natural gas facility. They've spent about $14 million, and what they're doing is, and this is where a lot of industry is going, y'all, in order to cut their environmental footprint, to reduce their carbon footprint. They're doing things that we would have never imagined even just a decade ago. But they're actually taking some of the waste from their wastewater treatment plant, so it's not even having to be fully processed, and working with Duke Energy and Optimi Bio, they're taking that waste and actually making natural gas that's put directly into the natural gas line up there and sold by Piedmont Natural Gas. So again, it's just nice to know you want companies to be investing in your community. If a modern industry is going a decade and you're not seeing the investment in your community, then you need to start wondering where they are investing, because no business now is going to stay the same very long. So that's why we have to keep a really good relationship with all of our existing industries and make sure that we keep making it as friendly as it can be to grow and expand in our community. And Smithfield is certainly doing that. They're investing up there each year by the tens of millions to grow, become more environmentally friendly, to add more machinery. So that's a great success story that's going on up there. Going from the big end to the small end of processing, over in Bladenboro, we have a company starting up right now that will probably be around 30 employees. They're hoping to run some of their first tests next week, and they are doing smoked turkey legs. So it's going from one that employs over 5,000 to one that employs 30. But here in Bladen County, every business counts. So they've moved into what was, if you go way back, what most people know it as. A lot of the people my age and older, we won't say the old people, would know it as the goat plant. But more recently, it was Southern Bell Organics. They were processing blueberries there. But we're looking forward to them starting up. There was more to starting up than they thought, so it's taken a while, but they do hope to do their first test runs in the next couple of weeks and hopefully start up sometime in the first quarter. Also, out at the Elizabethtown Industrial Park, there continues to be a tremendous amount going on in the Elizabethtown Park. The latest thing that we've constructed out there is what we're calling our incubator number 6, and that is for Westwood Robotics. If you know Terry and Rebecca Baxter or Josh Butler, since, the first time I went to see Terry was before I was even doing economic development here. I was doing workforce development at the COG. And they were down there, they moved into the little Southeastern Times building and were making welding robots there. Well, they were way ahead of their time because now robotics is taking off everywhere, and they're also getting into plasma cutting and other things. They have some companies from the Far East, one in particular from Taiwan, that are interested in getting more into the U.S. market. But the facility that we had them in out of the park was only 5,000 feet, so they didn't have enough space to put in some of the manufacturing lines that the company from Taiwan makes. So we have built a 10,292 square foot building, and when they vacate their half of Incubator 1, Aramark is already going to take it over. Aramark, the uniform company, right now they're having to shift work that should be done here to Fuquay Arena because they don't have space in the building. So this is a great opportunity for both of those companies to be able to grow into the business they have now and opportunities in the future. That is a project that, from the nonprofit Bladen's Blooming standpoint, we certainly want to thank the county commissioners. Gosh knows, Mr. Bullock, Charles Ray, what about 3-4 years ago, y'all set aside some money for product development? And we actually used $200,000 of that money to help with the down payment for that facility, Incubator 6, that's going to allow both of those companies to grow. Right before that, we built our incubator number 5, which is also on the Ben Green Industrial Drive as you go into the park. It's a 26,490 square foot facility. We did not have a tenant for it when we built it. It's a speculative building meant to draw traffic to the community. And it has certainly done that. There are at least 9 different companies that have looked at that facility. There are a couple of local companies that have looked at that facility. And we would love to have a couple of those companies expand into it. Examples of companies, these aren't the two local ones, but examples of companies, we have one that's a plastics injection molder that has the plans to it. One does plastic packaging for a medical product. Another one does plastic medical products. And another one makes liquor. So the way things have been going for us out there with the winery and everything else, it ended up being the liquor manufacturer. Yeah, years ago, it was right after, it was Lake Bellamy at the time that was making wine, and we had Sue B. Honey out there, and Tony Autry had just started making guns. So this was probably about, I'm gonna guess, 16, 17 years ago. And I got a call from two ladies that were in Philadelphia and had started a little company. And they were asking about our industrial incubator. They have family down here and heard that we had it. And said that they might want to lease an area in one of our incubator bays. And I said, well, ma'am, what is it that you make? And they said lingerie. And I'm thinking, okay, guns, honey, wine. Ooh, is that going too far? Anyway, they didn't end up coming down and looking, but the incubator network has certainly created a lot of success in the community. And we think that this incubator number 5 is gonna bring us a really good investment here, hopefully in 2020. But we don't want to put just anything in it. We did have a hemp manufacturer that called about it, but they were only going to create 8 jobs, and 6 of them were paying next to nothing. So when you put that kind of investment in it, again, Bladen Blooming could have never built that building without the assistance from the commissioners and the product development. They gave us a $900,000 forgivable loan to build that. So, that product development fund is what allowed us to build these things that are bringing all these companies that are looking at the community. Again, and I told Terry, I write notes so I don't talk too long, and I have about 3 people that have a signal for it's time to quit, so I'm getting toward the end, all y'all that had a signal. Another thing that we're really working on, and we've tried it about 4 different ways, is the revitalization of Bladen Borough. We know that they were devastated over there by the hurricane, and we have looked a number of different times at a way to do a retail and service redevelopment over there. And for one reason or another, each of the 3 or 4 things that we have tried have not worked, but we are on to the next plan. It's something that we're committed to trying to do. The community over there is so committed. The Boost the Borough group and the town to trying to revitalize that we want to do everything we can to help. So if you know people that are looking to open a business that would work in that area, certainly have them call us. One of our struggles right now is to find tenants with the confidence to go back into the downtown area. After most of the folks being flooded twice in the past 4 years, but a lot of these folks have been in downtown Bladen Borough for decades, and this is the 4th time they've flooded. It goes back to Fran and Floyd. That for a lot of folks it's just difficult to go back. But Bladen County needs to be a multiple successful town county. So if you know of anybody that you think would have a good business that could go over there, please have them contact us. We're looking at another idea about doing that over there. Talking about growing, one of the exciting things that came out of Project Key in Provalis was a potential live, work, play community in the Elizabethtown Industrial Park. This is something that's happening all over the country. You've probably been to Raleigh or Charlotte or other big places where they're literally coming in and taking most times it's bigger than this, 32 acres or 35, something like that. You know, lots of times it's 400 acres. And they're just putting a bunch of houses, a grocery store, everything you need there in one place. Well, this would kind of be the Elizabethtown version of that. We need housing here. We need places that you can rent here. And we're hoping that this in the park, the town is already building what's going to be a gorgeous park around Greens Lake. The winery's already there, the jobs are there. So we're really excited to see this take off in the next year or two as it happens. But I can tell you, Provalis, it was what got us in the last 3. One of the other communities that they're looking at has a live, work, play community, and they're having a lot of success recruiting young workers to that type community because that's what they're looking for. They don't want to buy a home yet. They're looking for a place they can rent. They're looking to be able to walk to something like the park that the town's looking at building out there, being close to jobs, open areas near other people. So we're excited about that. Hopefully one day in the next year, Eddie will be up here talking to you about that project. The other thing, I thought we were going to have to cancel it because Ann can't come. Casino night, it's our industry appreciation event. In past years, it has been kind of a combination industry fundraiser, but it's been so successful with my industries that this year we just kind of turned it and focused it as our industry appreciation. Now, we are selling tickets, so if you want to buy a ticket, you can call our office. They're only $25 a piece. In the past, they've been $50 a piece. And we do need somebody that can have as much fun as Ann to take her place. I'm not even in the ballpark. But it's Saturday night. It opens at 7, the gaming starts at 7:30, and it goes to 10:30. You pay $25, you walk in the door, and they give you $5,000. That's the good news. For $25, you can get $5,000. The bad news is whatever you win at the end of the night, you can only cash in for raffle tickets. But we do have some good prizes, Fishers, Line 1s, JDs. There's almost always an AR-15 that gets the most things in their bucket. I think Tony is doing one of the goes again this year. So if you haven't bought your tickets for casino night yet and you want to come, please let us know. I think we did 200 tickets, and I think we have now maybe 20 some left. So there are still some tickets. And I'm gonna stop there. But does anybody have any questions about any of those things, or any other project that maybe you've heard about that I didn't mention?
You said Southern Organics used to be in the building that is now housing the new industry. Where did they go?
Rick Rooks is he's the owner of it, and I know that Rick, he either was looking to buy or lease a building in the Columbus County Park. I think he was also looking to partner with maybe some of the existing blueberry folks here in the county. And I know at one time he was even looking at the area where there's the Columbus, Brunswick, that big park that there's nothing at right now down off of 74 going toward Wilmington. I don't know exactly where he moved the blueberry processing to, but my guess would be that he's probably processing them in either a combination of or over in the park down from Southeastern Community College.
Chuck, do you want to mention how many spaces you have available in the incubator here
Oh gosh, I'm glad you said that's the thing I skipped over. And that was the main thing no wonder Terry was looking at me like, the main thing I was here to say. On the 29th or 30th, most likely, we're trying to nail down the date. We're going to be having the grand opening of our Elizabethtown Small Business Incubator. In the incubator right now, Bladen's blooming building, but it is really a partnership between the Elizabethtown-White Lake Chamber of Commerce. They have moved in now. We've been waiting to have the opening so that we could get them in. So they're in. We're very excited about that. If you don't know where it is, it's right across from the courthouse. We spent a bunch of money, about $80,000 more than we thought, making it look really nice. But we do believe that for the chamber, and also the other primary partner in it is Bladen Community College with their small business counseling. We think that them being in it for decades to come and us running small businesses through it are going to be worth way more than we put into buying and renovating the facility. It looks very nice. We're really excited for everybody to come out and see it. It also helps clean up a part of town there with what we did and what the town's doing across the street at the fire department. That we think it is just continuing all the great work that the Elizabethtown has done. I can tell you, back to the Provalis project, our biggest inhibiting factor on that project was that they felt like our downtown was too nice. That they specialize in going into distressed communities and helping reinvigorate downtowns. And what they said, it's kind of hard to bring in these Fortune 100 companies that they deal with, take them to downtown Elizabethtown and said, come do business for us. We're going to help reinvigorate this. There's nothing vacant. It's a great looking town. But they got past that and they said that that's not their model anymore. When they come back, they're fine with a really, really nice downtown. But also in there, besides the college and the Chamber of Commerce are our leaders there. Talk to them about the facility if you have any needs. But two of our very first tenants were minority females. One lady does massage therapy. The other does cosmetic stuff. Also, Miss Mary Green brought us an opportunity with Habitat. I think and tell me if I'm not giving a fair description of it because I don't know, but it had just gotten to the point where running a habitat, there was so much paperwork and so much that had to be done that it was just difficult for a small community like ours to manage it. We found out that Sampson County was being managed now by Fayetteville area habitat. So now they are also going to manage Bladen County. And what I've heard from Miss Mary and Greg is we're probably more optimistic about their future in the community than we've been. We'll probably see more done than we have the capability to do ourselves. So we also gave them a deal to be able to move into the incubator so we could keep that critical service in the community. We hate to not have that organization here because we know we have the need. And so it leaves us with 2 small offices and a large suite. And we think it's highly likely that we have a company that wants to come in the next week or so and maybe take the large suite. We're not at liberty to say who they are right now, but it is a service that is desperately needed here in the county. And if they come, would have a much larger impact on the community than what you would expect out of an incubator. It's something that would have a big impact. So we're really hoping that they will go ahead and come in here and decide to take that day and start providing their product and service to the community. So thank you for asking that. Boy, I should have been shot if I walked out here when I talked about the incubator. But you'll know very soon, either the 29th or the 30th. It's going to be in the afternoon either day. So Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you for the invitation.